Well, here we are, Godzilla. The end of another year. A year that for me, and I'm sure a lot of other people, was very With that said, this video is not about depressing stuff. It's about good stuff. It's about all the games that I had fun with this year, for sure. But it can't be ignored. I mean, guys, life's been tough the past couple of years, right? I mean, I feel very lucky and fortunate at my place in life, that's for sure. But I gotta tell you, 2021, whoo-hoo! It was a rough one. Not gonna get too into it. You know, I don't like to share too much of my personal stuff with everybody here, but like, you know, I had a lot of personal stuff going on. I didn't update the channel as much because of that this year. I had hardly any motivation. And, you know, that relayed into game playing too. There were definitely nights, you know, where I wanted to load up a game and play, and I would just be like, I don't know that I have the energy. And how crappy is that to say, right? I know, right? Cry me a friggin' river. Like, oh, I don't want to play a game tonight. Believe me, I get it. But basically what I'm saying is, like, I just didn't get to a lot of games this year because I just had a lot of other things going on. And then when I did have time, I just kind of wanted to sit back and just like let my brain melt into my skull, you know? Is that a thing? Is that a disease you can get? Brain melting into skull? There's got to be something. Anyway, where am I going with this? I'm going to tell you which games I liked that came out this year in 2021. And this was all leading to me letting you know, hey, there aren't a lot on this list. I'm not doing a top 10, I'm not doing a top 5. There aren't a lot on this list. I'm going to talk about a couple that I played that I don't feel like I can really say, like, yeah, I really enjoyed this because I didn't get a lot of time in with it. But there are a select few that I put a lot of time into and actually finished and had a lot of fun with. But seriously, I hope everybody is healthy, happy, having a good holiday. There's a lot of H's, isn't it? But I mean it. I really do hope that everybody's doing well. And that's, you know, I'm feeling better too. That's why I was kind of like, hey, I'm going to sit in front of this fake fireplace and Christmas setting here, and I'm going to talk about video games, damn it. All right, well, to start things out, we're going to go all the way back to the beginning of the year when Mario 3D Land and Bowser's Fury, the combo cartridge, came out. And man, I was looking forward to this. You know, Mario 3D Land on the Wii U is a very, very good game. And that is not what I was excited about, because this is just a re-release, right? I mean, who cares about re-release? I mean, re-releases are good in a certain aspect, but for the most part, it's just like, it's the same game, right? You know, a few tweaks here or there. But Bowser's Fury, guys, if you have not played Bowser's Fury, oh my god, this game is almost worth the price of admission right off the bat. I mean, if you could get this game on discount at some point, you know, half off or something, or at a used game store or something like that, and you get Bowser's Fury, that's about what it should cost. It feels like a $40 game, you know what I'm saying? But for $60, you get that game plus the excellent 3D Land from the original Wii U release, and you can't go wrong with that. Man, Bowser's Fury, what can I say about it? It is like, you know, in this day and age, I feel like it's almost impossible for them to reinvent 3D Mario, right? Because they've done it so many times already, starting with Mario 64, that it's just like, where else can they go with this? You know, and Mario Odyssey proved, hey, they still have a lot of cool ideas. You know, you can become a frog if you want. You become a friggin' T-Rex, right? You know, you can hang out in New Donk City and hang out with people there, like actual real-life people that are, you know, 6 feet taller than Mario. It's weird, but it's great. And what Bowser's Fury does is it kind of like totally anime-ifies, is that a word? Mario, and, you know, makes it so you become like Super Saiyan Cat Mario, and you could fight Bowser. You're both giant and you're destroying bricks, and it's awesome. It's super cool. I mean, basically with Mario, you're jumping around, collecting stars, and every now and then Bowser just like, I don't know why, I'm not sure how he got to this point. I don't know if he had a few too many drinks and he woke up hungover and this is what happens with him. But regardless, every now and then he just wakes up and he's like, "Rah!" and he attacks you. And this is like scary anime Bowser. Like, you guys remember the Bowser that they had back on the GameCube Super Smash Brothers? Like, they did the art for him and he looked real scary. I was like, oh my god, that is like a real intimidating Bowser. And that's what you're getting here. And I really, really dig this game. I would say, if you haven't played Mario in a while because you feel like it was kind of like old hat at this point, old hat, get it? You know? Mario Odyssey, throwing your hat on, forget it. If you felt like it was old hat, I think that this is going to really surprise you because it's a more difficult and challenging and, you know, tension-filled platforming game. which is really usually the antithesis of what I like. I don't like tension-filled games, but for some reason this game like really hit me the right way. I don't know what it was, but it's really good. All right, we're gonna fast forward to the summer here with Psychonauts 2. It came out on Game Pass, and as you guys know on the channel a few times, I have mentioned that Game Pass is a thing for me. That I really, really like Game Pass. For people who don't subscribe to it, I'm going to shill this pretty much every time. I don't even work for Microsoft, but I'm going to shill it every time I get the chance. But like, if you just want a lot of games to play and some new releases that you don't have to pay extra for because you're already paying for the service, I mean, this is kind of a no-brainer. And Psychonauts 2 became part of it, and I was so happy because I'm like, oh my god, another 3D platformer? Great. So my relationship with Psychonauts is strange because the original game, I like it, but I don't love it. Okay, I like the art style, I like the quirkiness of it, but I'm not so sure that it's a great 3D platforming game. I don't know. I haven't played it in a really long time. I played it back when it came out. I've tried, and you know, I enjoyed it back then, but I've tried to revisit it, and when I revisit it, you know, it just doesn't click for some reason. Like, I always get through the first, you know, like 45 minutes of the game, and then I shut it off and I never go back to it. I've done this probably like 3 or 4 times, and I just don't get past this first area. I don't know what it is, you know. I really, really enjoy, I don't know, remember if it's the first level, second level or whatever, but it's the one where you fight that big fish monster, like your giant monsters. I'm sensing a theme here, right? Really like giants fighting. It's kind of a thing I really like. You put giants fighting, whether it's a giant Bowser or a giant fish or something, I'm in. So when Psychonauts 2 was announced, I was like, okay, I was kind of apprehensive because I'm like, all right, yeah, I like Psychonauts, but where is this going, right? And it was in development for a very long time. You know, it had a Kickstarter, and then, you know, then Double Fine was bought by Microsoft, and like it was like, where's this game? This game's coming out on everything, but it's also got to go to the Kickstarter backers. And to me, I was just like, what is going on with this game? Like, it's all over the place, right? But I'm very happy that it came out this past summer, and it's awesome. It's really, really good. It's one of those games where I started it, and I wanted to just keep going to see where it was going to go after that. It feels like a really well-paced, all-ages comic book. That's what it feels like. And they do an excellent job with it, you know, as far as the story pacing goes, because you'll finish a part of the level, and then you're like, oh, what's going to happen next? And you'll finish that level and get a story piece, and you're like, oh, okay, I got to go over here and talk to this guy. And then before you know it, you're back into like someone else's mind, exploring some crazy place. And that's the other part about this too, is that the levels were super, super unique and just like very creative. I know it's a kind of a throwaway term nowadays, but like, you know, every level is different from the last one, offers a different challenge, new mechanics, and that kind of thing. And I was very, very impressed by that. For somebody who has been playing games, you know, since the Atari, you know, since arcade was a thing, you know, back in the late 80s, man, I started playing this and was just like, this is a really, really good 3D platformer. In my opinion, it goes up there with like some of the best 3D platformers for sure. And it's interesting that in this year of our Lord 2021, it took this long for this one to come out and go, wow, this one is up there with, I think, some of the classics, to be quite honest. It's really, really good. All right, so now we come up to the fall here, and the fall has a release of Forza Horizon 5. Now, for those of you who play the Forza Horizon series, I don't really need to say anything else, right? I mean, it's Forza Horizon 5. It takes place in Mexico, which I think was a great pick. It was completely unexpected because I think a lot of the communities were pining for Asia in some way. They were like, give me Japan, give me China. I think that's what people wanted. And they may do that in the future, but they picked Mexico. And I was like, okay, yeah, I could totally see this working. And it turns out, man, it is really good. Now, I don't normally play open world games anymore. Like, there's just too much game, you know, in one game that I get bored because I'm like, okay, let's go do the same mission 50 times. Let's go do this other mission 50 times. Climb the tower, discover a thing. You know, very few open world games for me actually break through and have me keep coming back for more. But Forza Horizon 5, I don't know if it's because the racing feels really good. I don't know if it's car collecting. The game loop itself is just super addicting. My God, it's like you do a race, you do this thing, you unlock something else, and then it's like, hey, you should go check this out. And you're like, okay, I will. And then this one adds in expeditions, which are a ton of fun. You go do very specific things with your cars, and usually there's somebody with you who's like explaining to you, like, how the land in Mexico works. Like there's a excellent expedition where you go up to an active volcano, and when you get up to the volcano, you're running a machine to like measure the seismic activity, and you're doing all this other stuff, and then at the end you get to ride down the volcano hillside in a different car, and it's the expeditions I think were a great add. They're very, very fun. They even added in like ruins, like Aztec style temples and stuff like that you get to go explore. They really did Mexico justice, in my opinion. They took a lot of the culture and put it in there, and you get to race around it, which I think is super fun. But yeah, I mean, this is Forza Horizon. It takes 4 and adds 1 to it and adds a few new bells and whistles, but it's basically the same game. Now I know a lot of people were kind of mad because when it came out, it wasn't perfect. It came out and it had some bugs. I know a personal friend of mine, the day it came out, could not play it because he mainly plays on PC. It came out on Xbox and PC day and date, the same day. And, man, he couldn't get in to save his life. I got in on my Series X, but he couldn't get in on PC to play with me. That's really a bummer because it was release day. The release day woes are still like the worst thing in the world. But once they patched the game, they added a bunch of hot fixes and that kind of thing. Oh my God, is the game addicting? Especially now that they've added the seasonal challenges into it where, they'll give you like 10 seasonal challenges every week, and you have to, run through speed traps with a certain car at a certain speed. You have to hit a certain jump with a certain car, getting a certain length. You have to do certain races with certain cars a certain way. And there's all these stipulations and objectives, and it just adds that much more fun to the game. And all the while, you're unlocking more money, more cars, more costumes, and just having a ton of fun, man. It is a great, great game. Especially with friends. You got to play this with friends because if you do some of the arena stuff, if you do some of the arcade stuff, even just racing against your friends, it is so much fun. So yeah, Forza Horizon 5, fun meter is like at a 10 for me on this one. If I was actually putting numbers on all these games, this one would probably be my game of the year, number 1 for sure. Now my last game, I think is going to be a controversial pick for some people because I think a lot of people played it, expected more, and it is what it is. And that game is The Gunk. It just came out a few weeks ago. I've already played through it, 100%ed it, the whole thing. It's a very linear 3D platforming game with a cool story, cool characters, and, just a lot of things you would have done on, say, like the PlayStation 2. I mean, The Gunk is literally like the recreation of a PlayStation 2 game with the same style mechanics and everything like that, the same style of linear storytelling and traversal through levels and that kind of thing. But it's just such a good throwback game. I know people hear like PS2 or whatever and they're like, oh, it's old or whatever, but it's a beautiful game. So it's like the mechanics and the style and the pacing are very, PS2 era, but the rest of the game is modern. Now, what makes it feel like an older game is that it's a smaller scope game. It's only got a few mechanics to it. And some of the mechanics also feel janky, like it was almost like an experimental, like maybe near launch game on the PS2 or something like that, right? So basically it's Ghostbusters, where you're sucking up all this gunk off of this planet, trying to save the planet. It's about as far as I'm going to go into it, as far as the story, because I don't want to spoil it for anybody who wants to play it. It's only like a 6-hour game. It's very short, like 5-6 hours. But it's worth your time, because if you are into a game that is beautiful, has fun little mechanics, has a lot of gunk to clean up, has good dialogue, that kind of thing, I think you're going to really enjoy this game. But for me, it's my number 4 just because, I really enjoy 3D platformers in general. And then when they had one that was not only a throwback, or felt like a throwback game, but did it very successfully and still, in my opinion, fits into the modern landscape of gaming, to me, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm just going to include this one. Like, I don't care what any of you say. I enjoyed it. I think it was fun. That was my main 4 games there, guys, but there's a lot of games I didn't really get to. There was a lot of releases this year that came out, especially on Game Pass, I just did not get to spend a lot of time with. One of them being Back 4 Blood. Back 4 Blood is the continuation of the Left 4 Dead series in a spiritual sense, of course. It's, not Left 4 Dead 3 or anything like that, but it kind of is. And what they did over at Turtle Rock is basically take Left 4 Dead and completely change it. That is to say, like, a lot of the special zombies are different, that kind of thing, while keeping everything else the same. So, I mean, you're still shooting zombies with friends. It's that game, but they've added a whole layer of, like, collectibles to it. So you can collect certain guns and costumes, and then, like I said, there's new zombies to take out, there's new encounters, and unfortunately, I only played maybe an hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. I forget at this point, guys. It's been a little while. But I only played a little bit of it, so I didn't feel right including it because I had fun with what I played with, but at the same time, I didn't feel like I could really judge it by what I played because Left 4 Dead, I put probably, at least the original, I put a lot of hours into that. I played a lot of that game, and then 2 came out. I put less hours into that one, but I still enjoyed it, and I go back to it during, Halloween time every now and then, like every other year. Me and a friend will jump in and play a little bit, and it's still a fun game. Back 4 Blood, though, I'm still kind of like, I still got to get some more time into it before I really make a decision on whether I'm into that one or not. Anyway, guys, share in the comments with me what games you really loved that came out this year. And, of course, Happy New Year. Here we are heading into 2022. Here is hoping that it is even incrementally better than 2020. I don't think it's going to be hard to be better than 2021, but let's just hope. Because I hope 2021 was going to be better than 2020. And for me, not so much. So I hope everyone's doing well out there. Like I said, Happy New Year. And, of course, I'll see you all next time.